Select case, I'll try to inculcate somewhere in a program and explain to you so what select cases instead of taking it as a pure programming thing. So how to protect your codes? The way to protect codes is going to be you go select the workbook that you want to protect. So when you protect your codes, the entire workbook gets locked for looking at the codes. It's not just one particular sheet will get locked. The entire workbook gets locked. So you can go to tools, then you can go to VBA project properties, go to protection. You can lock the project for viewing and give a password. So for example, I'm giving my name. I'm telling you just in case I forget. I click OK. So right now you will not see any effect of it. But once you close it, save it, and let's say we open it again. Alt F11. Now you see you can't see any component of this particular workbook, right? If you try to open it, like even press on the plus sign to expand to see the sheets in the workbook, that is also not allowed. Its whole thing got password protected. So till you don't give your password, it won't open up. And once you've given, then you will be able to view the codes. All right.
Okay.
And before I forget how to, what is the password, I'll just remove it. Alt F11. Save. Why is this coming as div 0? I ate up my expenses. Okay. Okay, so let's start. So yesterday we were talking about ranges and we started working with the range and what does referring to one cell means, what does referring to many group of cell means, how do you put value in each and every cell, and the same method, how do you read value from a column cell by cell. So today let's talk about how you are going to do a cut or a copy and a paste of a range or a cell. So the easiest way to learn VBA is to think in Excel, think of all the logical steps, think of your algorithm, think of then how in Excel I would have done that, and then convert it into a VBA code. But if you think only in codes, you might take a longer route to finish that work, or you may not be able to crack the logic very easily. So the easiest thing is think of what I would have done in Excel and then replicate the same in the backend in VBA. So if I had to copy the column A from A3 to A15, what is the process that you typically follow? I want to copy A3 to A15 and paste it in column E. So what will I do?
First, we have to select.
Correct. So first what you will do, you will go ahead and you will select the range. And then
Control
C.
And you will copy and then you will paste it. And when you're pasting, are you picking one cell or you're picking group of cells?
Only one cell. Only one.
You're picking only one cell. Same thing we are going to replicate now. So first thing you did was you picked the range, right? So range A3 to A15. What did you do? You copied it. So dot copy. Correct. And when you give a space after copy, you will see there is a word called destination. Naveen, could you please mute yourself? So then in destination, so with copy, the destination is also a part of it because you copy to paste only. You don't copy to do anything else. So by default, you will see the argument of destination is there. And like I asked you, do you select one cell or multiple cells? You said I select one cell. So all I have to do is give a, let's say E3 as a range, which is going to be my destination. That's about it. So when you run it, F5, it'll go ahead, copy, and it'll do a paste over here. Simple.
Yes.
Now the same thing, if I would have recorded in a macro, you would see that it's approximately 5 lines. So that's why I say, it's good to record and get your codes, but have that thing ability to be able to edit the codes and make it shorter. Like this is making it shorter. Now, if you had to cut it, for example, if I had to cut it, again, cut will have a destination because you cut to paste somewhere. You will see that if you give a space after cut, I'm giving after this. Hold on. So the destination is still there. So if I give a destination, so it will cut and paste. So one leaves a copy of the data, one does not leave the copy of the data. Right? So that's the thing it will do. Any question in this copy and cut and paste? Very simple, very easy to understand.
No.
So,
Yes,
Ishani.
Ishani, the keyword we use, but it's cut or move. I mean,
Cut.
So
So
Ishani, what if we
one second. You move a sheet, but you cut a cell, right? You don't move a cell.
oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay.
Right? You move a sheet and cut a cell. So that's what I said, depending on which object you're using, your methods are going to be differing a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, Faizan. Or who had a question?
this is Lalit.
Yeah, Lalit, tell me.
So what if Ishani, if we have to copy some data from one workbook and need to paste it on another workbook?
Very
Is it-
good question. So this, what is happening over here? We are copying and pasting in same worksheet,
Yes.
right? Now, if I had to copy and paste in a different worksheet, then what would I do? And how will you write the code?
Worksheets and then range, then destination.
Exactly. So over here in your destination, that will change the and which worksheet you are pasting, that would come into picture. Let's say I want to put in sheet 8 dot range E3. So now what it will do, it will copy from A3 to A15, go to the worksheet called sheet 8, and in that paste in E3. Alright, Lalit?
Ishani, I was talking about if we need to paste the data in a different file.
So what will you do? You tell me
So
now.
need to, so I think we would refer
Workbook.
the location of the file.
You don't have to have the location of the file. See, why you don't need the location of the file, Lalit? Because when you do a copy paste in Excel, can you paste it in a closed file?
Sorry, I
Can
didn't get
can
it.
you copy and paste on a closed Excel file?
No.
You have to keep it open. So your assumption is when you're doing all these process, the workbook is open,
Yes.
right? Now, if I have to paste in a certain workbook, then instead of also specifying the worksheet, I'll also need to specify the workbook, isn't
Okay.
it?
Yeah.
Right? So wherever the outer object needs to be defined, you do that. Dot worksheets dot range.
Yeah. Now all good.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, any other questions regarding copy paste?
Ishani, we have not given the name to the other sheet.
What if we had not given?
We have given to the name to the workbook from which we are copying, but we have not mentioned the workbook name in which we have to copy the data. We have to paste. Sorry, we have to paste the data.
So this is mentioned here, right? Which is a workbook, which is a worksheet in that workbook, which is a range in that workbook where we have to paste it.
Okay, so we are copying. Okay, fine. So we are.
Copying, see, yeah, when you're writing in a module, let's say there is some active workbook or an active sheet, and we are using the keyword range or we are using the object of range. So automatically that is of that particular active object.
Fine,
Now
fine,
from
fine.
that workbook, we are pasting it somewhere.
Fine.
Right? Okay. Now let's talk about pay special. Pay special is what? Method or property?
Property.
Method.
It's a method. Like paste is a method, pay special is also a method. So let's say we wanted to, this is a formula. So I want to copy this column and do a paste special. And I want to also transpose in G 1. So I want to do something like this. When I'm transposing, and since it's a formula, I'll transpose as well as I'll do paste special values and get the values. Okay, so when I did a copy and when I did a copy and I opened the paste special, how many arguments are there to paste special? In paste special, how many arguments are there?
Paste and
So
transpose.
first you will select value and then you
Transpose
can
and values.
transpose.
No. How many arguments are there in a basic paste special? Remember how arguments were there before, after, count, type when you did worksheets.add? Similarly, paste special is a method which has arguments because it's saying paste special. But what is paste special? How to do a paste special? Do you want to paste values? Do you want to transpose? Do you want to do an operation?
So there are multiple.
Yeah.
There are
things.
four. Well, how do you identify when you look at Excel? You see this is paste. Paste is a argument. Now, what are these? These are the way you're going to paste. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, operation is an argument. And what operation you're going to conduct on it, that is a value that you will assign to this argument. And then independent are skip blanks and transpose. Now, whenever you see these square check boxes, it means they will work as true or false. If you check them, it's true. If you uncheck them, it's false. So again, you're going to see in the backend. So we wanted to do paste special. First part is again the same. We want to copy the set of cells. So this dot copy. Now, unfortunately, I cannot paste it in the same line because just like how I did on the top, because there are certain arguments I want to give. So over here, we can say once we have copied, we can select where we want to paste. So G1 dot, that's my destination. What I want to do over here, I want to do a paste special. And then if you see, you have the argument of paste, operation, skip blanks, and transpose. So for example, paste colon equal to, and all the things that you were seeing of comments, formats, value, those are the values I can assign to this argument. So if I say Excel paste values, so I'm getting only the value part, comma, and if I want to use transpose, so transpose is true or false, right? So if I put true, means I've checked it, I want it, and if I leave it, by default, it's false. So this is how you use your paste special. So if I run this program again, F5, over here, it had copied it and done a paste special, transpose as well as value. Yeah.
Yes.
So don't have to remember all these values. They will automatically come.
So Ishani, like I have a quick question. Like
Yes.
when we are mentioning dot paste special, so again, why we are mentioning paste? Then it's like Excel
Paste
based.
special is a method. Now in paste special, what are you doing? How are you doing a paste special? So for example, to answer your question, Dheeraj, once you copied it, right? You first
Right.
open this window, right?
Right.
Right. This window, how will it open in the backend when I say the word dot paste special?
Okay. Okay.
Now inside this window, I'm making selections.
Right.
So those are my arguments, and the first argument is the word is paste.
Okay.
And hence the word paste is repeating.
And
Okay.
Ishani,
Okay. Got it now.
Okay.
Ishani,
Yes.
paste colon dash is where we try to paste either the value or the format. And if
Correct.
we do a certain operation, it will be operation
Colon
dash.
equal to, yes.
Okay.
So if you do any kind of operation, even there you will see you will get a choice. So if I put operation, if I can spell it, operation, colon equal to, see I've got operation add, divide, multiply, none, subtract. By
And the
default
sequence-
it's at none.
And the sequence won't matter in this case,
No,
right?
no.
Okay.
As long, see, there are two ways. Okay, since you've asked this question, the sequence one, there are two ways I could have written this method. One is the way I typically write, and this is how you will see when you record codes, this is the process it follows. Other way could be that I do a paste special. And if I don't want to write these arguments, so I could have done it in this fashion also. I just write the value Excel paste special, then is operation, then is skip blanks, and then is transpose. So I could have written it in this fashion as well. But in this case, I have to maintain the sequence. I know first argument is for paste, so I have to give that first. Now I'm not using the other two arguments of operation and skip blanks, so I'll have to give 2 commas and then use true. So if I only work with the values and not the name of the argument, then I have to follow the sequence and I have to leave gap for things that I'm not going to utilize. But if you're mentioning the argument name when you're assigning, then nothing like that is important. The sequence also doesn't matter.
So Shani,
Okay,
does it
Shani.
work? Does this situation, as you explained, putting a values, is valid for other places?
It is.
Other places also, where arguments are required, right?
The reason I don't adopt this way of writing, I'll tell you very frankly, when you're writing, the whole syntax comes at the bottom and you know you're writing for paste and you're writing for skip blanks and so on and so forth. But ideally, think about when you're going to read your own code. Then would you remember you gave true for skip blanks or was it transpose unless you marked it up very nicely?
Yeah, of course we want.
Right? So when you give the name of the argument, I think it's more readable codes. And when you record a code, for example, we're going to record this code, okay? See how VB also works. So I'm going to record. Okay. Select, copy, transpose. All right. Stop. Let's go to view macro. Macro 1. What happened? This is the macro 1, right? Module, this is it. So what it has done, it has done a copy. Then it said, what is G3? I'll select that. And then over there, I'm going to do paste special. Then it's saying in paste, what we did paste all because I didn't do anything. Operation is Excel none because I didn't do anything. Skip blank is false. And only thing I touched is transpose. So that became true. So when you record a macro also, it gives in this fashion. It gives you the argument and the value, argument and the value. All right.
Ishani, can you briefly
Explain this code?
No.
Then?
Define the argument
Of
the argument phenomena in VBA.
Yeah, just give me 1 quick minute, okay? You, Faisal, you wanted me to repeat the paste and operation skip blanks, this part.
No. The argument, the definition of the argument. What does that mean?
The definition of argument is that there are certain methods, right? That we know. Okay, again, let's take an example from Excel sheets only. So for example, I say I want to protect the sheet, right? Which is the object I'm talking about?
Sheet.
Worksheets, right?
Yes.
And what am I doing to it? Protecting.
Protecting.
Right? So it's method of property.
Method.
It's a method. Now, how do you protect worksheet in Excel? You go to review.
Review and
right. Protect sheet.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Now, how many arguments could be there for this?
The list that is given below.
The whole list that is given below and a password.
Yes.
Right. So those are
Yes.
the arguments. So what you're doing, you're protecting. That's your method. But how are you going to protect? Like, what are the things that you will do? What are you protecting? That becomes your arguments.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
So how you're doing that method is a argument.
So taking an action is a method, but how
How?
are we taking
Yes,
it
that's
is
an argument.
argument. And
Correct.
and you have also said that you can see the argument in a square checkbox, which I can see over here.
Yes. So square check boxes are typically true and false. So they are independent, right?
Yeah.
So again, if you do this thing, let's say worksheets 2 dot protect, it's not showing up. So it's not showing up over here. Like I said, not all the time, Excel is very good, VBA is very good to give you all the things, but it would have all those arguments over here. So if it's not coming from here, and if you Google, you will be able to figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Just to make sure. Go ahead.
Ishani, so it's like worksheet dot protect we have mentioned over there. So in case of pay special, we have mentioned pay special over there. When we are protecting Excel spreadsheet, it's like a protecting sheet mentioned over there. So we just have to mention protect, or we have to mention complete protect sheet.
It is protect only. It is protect. So you are already mentioning the what do you call the object, right? The object is a workbook, a worksheet, and on worksheet, what you're doing a protect. So again, these kind of things, remember when we see over here, this is dot protect, right? Worksheets, name of the
Yes.
sheet dot protect, and
Mhm.
everything,
Right.
password, drawing
Password.
object, content, all these are what? These are all given over here. And they are as true and false, true and false, true and false, because they were checkboxes,
Okay.
Right.
right? And password is a string that it is asking for. It's a string password that you give, a text that you give.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it, Ashani.
Okay.
All right. Okay, coming back over here. So this is your pay special. Next thing is how do you pick your range in a dynamic fashion? So till now we have been doing all static from A3 to A15 and so forth. So how do you make it dynamic? So again, tell me in Excel, how would I do it? So for example, if I am in A3 and I wanted to select the entire range of A15 till A15, how would you do it?
Selection Excel down in code, or control down arrow.
In Excel, control shift down.
Yes.
You would do control shift down, right? So control shift down does what? It keeps on going down till it hits the end cell. And
Yes.
and how is the end cell defined? It is the one, it is the last non-empty cell, correct?
Right.
Yes.
Empty cell.
So,
Blank cell.
non-empty cell, till the last non-empty cell. And before empty cell, it stops. So if I know the start cell, if I know the end cell, I'm able to create a range. So there is a way. If you look over here, when you say range and you open the bracket, you see the syntax is cell 1, comma cell 2. Have we ever used range like this? Have I ever put a comma like this in cells in a range? No. It's cell 1, comma cell 2. So how does this syntax of cell 1, comma cell 2 work? The way it works is that cell 1 is your start cell, the cell 2 is your end cell. So if you give your start cell and you give your end cell, it automatically creates that a range. So if I write range A3 to A15, right, and I say dot select, what does the method of dot select will do? It will go and select it in Excel. So if I'm over here, right now my selection is what? It's A15. I'm in cell A15. Now if I run it, F5, what has happened? It went and selected A3 to A15. How did it happen? Because I gave the start cell and I gave the range. Now the same thing I can break and say A3, comma, A15. This will also work in the same manner. So if I run the code again, let's say I'm over here somewhere, I run the code A5, F5, and I automatically first cell, last cell, and it created a range. This is also static.
Yes.
This is also static.
So
Now the
Shani,
whole key is
after comma you give space.
that it gives itself. I didn't give
Oh,
space. That's
okay.
automatically comes. But the point is, this is also static. So when you
Yeah,
are saying
defined.
we are adopting VBA for automation of our work, so typically what remains stagnant is your start cells. So you have a software, you take a dump of the data from the software onto Excel workbooks, and then you start to run the codes and you get the output that you utilize it further, right? But wherever you take a dump of that data, wherever you copy pasting, try to see that, okay, the start cell is constant. If the start cell is constant, the only thing I have to worry about is the end cell. So how do we find the end cell in a column? What do you do? What do you press from A3 if I have to go to A15? I don't have to select the entire column, not the entire column.
Control shift down arrow.
No, control shift selects control down. Control down. So what it is doing, it is finding the end from your start position of A3, correct?
Yes.
Yes,
And in
Shani.
which direction are you going? You're going in a downward direction. So how we'll find the end cell? Range A3, like I said, start cell will be known to us. Dot end, we are trying to find the end. In which direction?
Down.
So I have all the
Down.
4 direction. I'm doing Excel down. Dot select. What will this command do?
It will select A3 to tell the down.
Not select everything.
It
It
will
will
go
select
down.
the last cell.
The last non-empty
The
cell.
last non-empty cell, it will select in the column starting from A3.
Yes.
Right?
The
So
very
over
last.
here, again, if I make this as E6 as my active cell and I run it, it will end up at A15. Why A15? Because from A3, it went all the way down and this is the last cell. Okay. So by this, I did what? I dynamically am finding my last cell without telling it's A15. Now, how do you create a dynamic range out of this concept? So we said range, if I give the start cell and if I give the end cell, it automatically creates a continuous range for me. So I'm going to use this concept range. My start cell is A3, comma. What is my end cell? My end cell is over here. This is my end cell. Correct? A3 dot end Excel down. This is what helped me to get my end cell. So this becomes my end cell and dot select. Trust me, you will do this day in and day out. Dot end, lot of dot and Excel down, Excel up. We do a lot of these things in our codes. So this is my start cell. This is my end cell and dot select. So as a result of it, let's say if I change the range, now it is from A3, it should go all the way to A20. I selected somewhere in column E. I go ahead and run 5 and it has selected all the cells. So I'm able to pick my range now dynamically. Tell me if you are able to absorb this.
Ishani,
Yes.
Ishani, if there is a case where although there is a space in blank row in my data, but then I wanted to, but after that blank row, the data continues, and I wanted to select every cell that has a value. Sorry, the very last cell. So is there a way?
So typically, Faisal, if we have blank cell, the
Uh-huh.
very first thing you will do in your data is fill up those blank cells. Right?
What if I want my macro to perform the activity to remove those blank cells?
Yeah,
And
the macro should only do it. I'm not asking you to do it. Macro should only do it. but the first and foremost thing is to fill up all the missing values in your data. So it depends, how you're going to treat your missing values. Putting a 0 is not obviously good thing. If a value is missing, doesn't mean the value is equal to 0. So let's say we put a hyphen or something that will indicate a value is not there. Okay. Now tell me, yes, Ankita.
I have one question. So let's assume that all those like lines which are blank, I don't want them, and I want them to be filtered out from my data. Can I do that? So can we just add a code
That
here?
will be, that will be auto filter. So hold on. So 2 questions. Correct? Okay. So again, yes.
Before you move on to next question, can you go back to the code page module?
Sure.
Yeah, so here you have started from range. A3 just start cell. And again, you have put in range A3. I understood dot end because it will move to last cell Excel down. But why we have again taken range A3?
End from where? You have to define that also, right? I want to go to the end.
So you have
from where? No. See,
From
remember I said end cell is how do you find an end cell? The definition of end cell is this thing. End cell from where you have to give, right? So that's why the start cell appears again. And that end from this place and in which direction. So that's why there is a repetition, but this is for the end cell. And this one is a start cell. This entire thing is the end cell. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I'm also thinking the same.
So now it's clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's say this is how the data is. We're going to eat up some values. Okay, somehow we got this bad data. Now, first thing I want to do is I want to fill up the blank cells. How would you do it in Excel?
Control down and then move
control
to the
down,
next.
so you can't do now. You'll do control down one by one. My
We'll
goodness.
filter blank.
1 lakh rows of data, Faisal, then what will you do?
We'll filter.
So we
Filter.
Replace.
I believe
Find
we have
and
to
replace.
give range.
Find and
Complete
replace.
range.
Find and replace. Yeah.
Find and replace. But before you do find and replace, what do you need to do?
Go to the end.
Select complete data. Select the range.
Table banana. We have
Select
to
the
create a
table.
table.
You need the table. How do you select a table in Excel? I can't use my control shift down arrow, right arrow. Whatever you do, right arrow, down arrow, right arrow, everything fails because of the empty cells.
Control shift space.
Control L.
Control N gives you
L.
new workbook. M.
Control T. L.
Oh, you're not converting into a table. I don't need to convert to a table.
We can select.
Yeah, just simple select, right? Control A.
Okay.
Control A. Right? Simple control A. How does control A works? It ignores that empty cells in the middle and it keeps on selecting till it hits completely empty row and a completely empty column.
And Ishani, control L is working also. No?
Control L.
Yes.
What is control L? I've never used. It's to create a table. I don't want to create a table.
Okay.
Why should I create a table first? I don't want to create a table.
Okay.
Okay. I just wanted to select a table.
Okay.
So how do you select a table? Now the thing that I did over here in Excel, how will I do it in VBA? Because we would want to select a table with the empty cells also. So we can't use this control alt, down arrow, right arrow, something like that. So again, only thing that will be consistent will be your start cell. And all you have to write is current region. That's it.
Current region.
That's it. Very simple.
Current
Start
region.
cell, the only thing that is consistent is start cell dot current region dot select. So if I go over here, even if I've selected F, now when I come back and I F5, automatically what it did, it selected the table.
Okay.
Right? Now what we are going to do?
Find and replace.
Do you know the code for it?
No.
Control H.
So how will you, That is your shortcut of Excel, but do you know the code of find and replace in VBA?
Cells dot find.
Cells?
Cells find.
So
Or
that's
range
what
find.
No. How will you know it? Don't do all this. You know how to find it out. How will you find the code?
Will Google.
No, better than Google. If you do Google, you will need a sprint after that. Better than that. Session 1 of VBA. What did we learn?
Excel function.
VBA session 1. Record. You record. Because it's impossible to remember all things, it's impossible to teach all things. And to be honest, I don't know all things to teach also. So the best equipment is record, get the code, edit the code to make it dynamic, because the recorded codes are very, very static in nature. So we should just know how to record smartly, pick the code, smartly edit the codes and plug it back in. So today we are going to do that. We are going to mix it up. So record a program, record a macro to do this activity of find and replace, and then edit the code so that I can run it on any kind of table, irrespective of how many rows or columns it has. Tell me what the code will be. Let's say the starting cell is A3. So from A3, wherever is the empty cell, using your code, I should be able to fill it up.
Do you want me to run it? Okay.
Yes.
Cell dot replace.
Correct. So if I have to do this, actually I can do it in the whole one line only. After that, using the text, what and replacement, they're the two compulsory ones, and look at search order, match type, match byte, blah, 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 all optional. So what are we looking for? Empty cell.
Yes.
Replacement is what? Let's say hyphen. And we are done. That's it.
Okay.
Only thing we wanted to understand is replace. How would it look like? It's dot replace, and then you run it. If you press F5, our work is done. It's Excel. See, everywhere I've got hyphens.
And now filter and remove or delete.
What are you deleting?
Oh, in this case, no deletion.
No deletion here. No filtering, no removal, no deletion. Just simple empty cells were there. We wanted to fill it up because for a lot of our work, for a lot of our functions, we select a column. So if our columns, I have empty cells in it, .excel down will not work.
Yes.
You want to make sure that all the cells are filled so that when in future, whatever work I'm doing, I'm able to easily select my rows and columns.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how will you filter the blank row in a table? Blank row in a table or blank cells?
Blank cells.
Blank cells, right?
Yeah.
Not a row, because row will not be captured in a table only. It will disconnect the table completely. Okay, so let's say what is so much of VBA sitting in my head? What is a shortcut for find and replace? Control F. Stuck with VBA right now. So now I want to replace it with nothing. Okay. So let's say what I want to do, Ankita, is I want to apply a auto filter over here to this range. Correct?
Yes.
How do you apply auto filter? You go and you click on filter.
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you guys apply filter, what do you apply filter to? You apply filter to a cell, filter to a table, filter to a column, filter to a row. What do you guys apply filter on?
To a column.
On a row.
On
Row.
you do filtering on a column, but you apply filter to what? A table.
Table.
Yeah.
Right? The full table gets the filter.
Yes.
So if I want to do this work, so what should be my first step?
We have to select the entire table.
I have to select the entire table. So how do you select the entire table?
So that would be yeah, active cell and current reason and select dot select.
Correct. Okay. So I'm not putting dot select because I want to straight away try to do that. Now there are two type of filters. One is auto filters, one is advanced filters. What are you trying to apply?
Auto filter?
Auto. So if you see, is it coming as a choice?
Yeah, third
Yes.
one.
Auto
Yes.
filter.
You give a space to it. What is there? There is a field. There is criteria 1. There is operator. There is criteria 2. Main elements, right? I go back. Let's see. If I click over here, right? So how do you apply filter? You go to a particular column and apply.
Mhm.
No.
So how will VBA know which column you went to? So it understands based on field. That's why the first thing that you saw over here is a field. Field is what? The column on which you want to apply the filtering criteria. And how do we give it? It's a number. This is the column number 1, column number 2, column number 3. Let's say we want to apply on column number 1. So this becomes field colon equal to 1. Is this part clear?
Yes.
Now, when you apply filter over here, now the syntax that it gives is for basically custom filter. In custom filter, you have a criteria. This is my criteria 1. Then I have and or. This is my operator. And then I have criteria 2. So if I have only one criteria that it has to be blank, do I need operator and criteria 2?
No.
I don't need it. So what will I use in the backend also? I'll say comma. This is criteria 1 colon equal to empty. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. If you run it F5 over here, we are able to see the 2 empty cells. Or if you wanted to non-empty cells, then you will say not blank. If you run F5, now I've got all the cells except for the non-blank cells.
So that sign is for non-blank.
Yeah, and not equal to, right?
Yes. Not equal to what?
Blank.
Nothing is given, so blank. Not equal
Okay.
to yes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when you want to remove the filter from a table, what do you guys do in Excel?
We go to filter and just remove it.
Click on the same symbol.
All DFF.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? You click on the same symbol or you click on the same shortcut. So
Yes.
this line, which applies the filter, also removes the filter.
Yes.
So if I want to remove the filter, I just have to repeat the line without any fields in it. Okay. So if I press F5, now you will see no filter is there. If I comment this line and run it, filter comes. And if I run the other line,
one more thing I want to ask. Ishani,
yes,
one more
Ashish.
thing.
Yes.
In field number second, like into the Excel file.
Yes.
This filter is applied on
first column.
First column only.
Yes. That's how you can apply your auto filter, right? You apply only on one column at a time. So if you have to apply filter on 2 or 3 columns, 2 or 3 same lines will come. Let's say I had to apply it on third column also. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll repeat this thing. And this time the field will become 3. Okay. So when I run the first time, only the first row, F5. So I still have empty cells in the column 3.
Right.
Right. Now let's say I want to run the second one also, F5. Now, no empty cells in column 1 or column 3. Because how would you apply filter? You are applying one by one.
Okay.
Shani, where will you, what will be the use of applying, filters in individual rows, because it's entire table is relatable, right?
No, not necessary. For example, you take a dump of a data set, right? But you are required to do analysis on one of the element of it. What is the first thing you'll do? You'll filter the data and then only work with it, right?
Yeah.
So lot of time we are doing filtering. We are doing filtering and then we are working. Okay, so filters we do. I was given a work, I'll tell you. So once one company's project I worked on, in which we took a raw data dump, and after that there were about 200 values, 200 codes rather, which were supposed to be analyzed. 200 codes. Do you think somebody would want to sit and do that 200 codes one by one, pick up the data from there and then work? Because initially these guys were manually doing it. Pick up the first code, filter it, copy, paste it, pick up the second code. Is such a bad exercise to do manually. Right, Sanjeev?
Yeah, true.
Even for VBA to do in that fashion of picking one code at a time, filtering and copy pasting was also bad. So I shifted to advanced filtering, where the processing became very, very fast because it could apply all the criteria in one time and filter out the data for me. But it is a use case. Like this is common that we have to filter.
I understand that. I was just asking, suppose this table is there and it's relatable, like months, expense and percentage expense, right? I got your point when taking out from the software the data and then filtering it is fine. I was just asking, there it will be required, but if we have a table which is relatable, right? In the row, it's like, if we say there is a name, there's its location, and then if in case we filter one column and we disturb the entire table, right?
Yeah, but if we want to get some specific information from our data, we filter only.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? If I wanted to find out, okay, all the financial records where the value is greater than certain value, or I want all the financial records where it has defaulted. So, we want to do end-to-end process. Let's say we wanted to create a dashboard with all the defaulters. So first thing is we are putting a filter, we are getting all the defaulters, then we are making pivot summaries, then we are making charts and slices and completing the entire thing. But this thing is not doing manually, because if it's like every week or every monthly thing, so rather than spending time on it manually, we might automate the entire thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, that if we filter the entire table, then it's fine. But if in case we just filtering the, suppose individual column, just individual column.
Column only.
Yeah.
You criteria on a column, then the whole row disappears, right? Not only that cell in that column.
Yes, of
So
course, it does.
ideally you're filtering a table only. You're putting a filter on a table, but you're putting criterias on individual columns.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Ankita, you have a question?
Yes, Ishani. So I have one question, like if, for example, instead of on months, let's assume that we had like amounts over there. And if the amount is greater than, let's assume $100,000, and I just want them to be filtered out. So how can I add that in this condition?
Then the criteria would be that way. Criteria will be greater than 100,000.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Thank you. I just got confused. I was thinking another.
That's okay. All right. Okay. You guys didn't leave me any time to do any work. I need to give you some work. So would you guys have time to do it or by yourself?
We can try. Yep.
You
Yes,
can
yes,
try.
fine, of course.
Okay, I'll explain it to you what I want you to do. I thought I'll give it in the class, but I did not get any time. Or tomorrow at least we'll start with this particular program only. So I'm going to share a file with everyone in the LMS. I would request you to download that file because a lot of things I will give in the class now will be from that particular file. So for example, over here, there's some raw data that we have created. It might be the same file. I might change the file for your use case, but it will be very similar work in which you have the raw data. And based on the raw data, I'll ask you various reports to be created. Okay. So for today, I'm giving you the same file and I would want you guys to populate the report one. So basic structure, the headers of the table are already done. It's already created. All you have to do is do the calculations at the back end for these values that I require and put the answers in this sheet. So now you have to be careful because the data is kept somewhere here and you're reporting somewhere else. So which sheets are active, which range it is referring to, that will make a lot of impact. So this is a very short and sweet report, right? So raw data is kept here and you have to write a code that populates the values in report one. All right. So I'll upload this file and then I'll make another file which is relevant to your process of finance.
So Shani, we only need to create a code to put the answers, or we have to
Only the
create the
answers.
entire table as well?
No, only the answers for now.
And Ishani, only we work on only report one only, or others?
Ideally, you can work on report 3 also, but again,
Okay.
we'll do it in the class. I don't want to scare anyone, so we'll do it in the class itself.
One by one.
One by one.
Okay.
We don't want to scare anyone away, and we want everyone to be interested. So as it is, I think I forgot to populate this sheet for very now. We have done go to is still left. This is done. This is done. Working with workbooks done. Holiday done. Working with worksheets done. Working with range we have started. So this one session is done. Today is the second. We'll need more. We need active cells and objects. Okay, this is also done. And today is 6th. Today is 5th only. So we have time. We have good amount of time. We are ahead of time only right now. So tomorrow I'll make you practice a little more on ranges and dynamic, like how to pick a dynamic range. And tomorrow we'll do also one more thing that Gunjan has a habit of. he uses a lot, he stores his objects in variable. So this is important. This is interesting, that why do we need it? It makes our life very, very easy. So we will learn this part also tomorrow, how to store objects in a variable. All right. And then let's take from there.
So Ishani, is this practice sheet you are emailing us?
Not emailing. I will be putting in the LMS.
Okay.
And then you can work on the sheet, the report number 1 only. That's it. I don't want anything else. Just report 1.
Okay.
You please save the sheet as well, Ishan.
Yes. Any questions from your end?
Ishani, I do have, but it's pretty long question.
So others can log out. You can tell me.
So that is something related to that specific filter scenario.
Okay.
So the practical, there is practical use of this wherein I receive a dump of bank statement in a text file, and then I copy paste it in Excel. And the shape of the data is such that it has some blank rows, and then the other bank statement is there, and then it goes on to 5 or 6 or 7 banks.
Okay.
So the reason why I asked to select the whole data set without using the control A, because in control A it won't work, because it will only select the first bank that has the data.
Correct.
So is there a way to go to the very end while selecting and do the filter and remove the blank cells?
So typically, yes. So what we do, I'll tell you, in Excel also, this is something that I like to follow. So I'm just recreating a dummy data set.
I have created it right now.
No, I just have to show it on my screen. I'll just show it to you. Don't worry. So
Okay.
let's, this is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. And let's say array, 100 rows, 4 columns, 1 comma 1000, an integer, blah blah blah. Let's say something like this is there.
Yes, something like this. Yes.
Right. Now, the way to approach, if I was working in Excel also, the way I would approach it, actually, I would go to the last cell of Excel and then come up. Because again, what is fixed? The fixed is the top part. Last part, I don't know what it is. So how do I find the last cell?
Normally, I use control end.
Control dot end.
No, in Excel, in
control end won't work, right? So basically, when I say end is this one, this end, the last cell. Okay. So either what you can do is, let's say if I have to write a code for such a thing. Filter. Set rows of data. What cell has. I'll select this as a cell. Dot select. This is my first cell. And from this cell, instead of writing it again, you can also use the word selection. So selection dot end button upward direction. Excel, I think it's Excel up only, not Excel 2 up. And if I say dot select. Now what happens? Let's see. Even though if we are up somewhere, let's say we are over here, we run the code. F5. We have reached this point.
Okay.
Right? Now that I know this is my point, now how do I create a range? It will be start cell is still A1,
Yes.
right? And end cell is which one? End cell is this one. Or you can also, we can use active cell also in order to understand what is the address of this active cell and then create from here. So if I do this, this will create the, if I run this now, F5, this is selected the entire column.
Okay.
Okay, but for your application, you don't really have to select a column, right? Once you found the last cell, you need to know the row number of it.
Yes.
Right? So for that, we will do it tomorrow, like active cell dot address we can do, or active cell dot row we can find out. I can put it in a message box and find the row. Once I know the row, then the whole thing is done, right? It's 101. So now if I have to pick a table,
Okay. Okay.
right? So range A ampersand your, let's say if I stored it in a variable X. It would allow me to go till I fix it. So let's say if I store it in a variable X and I say dim X as integer, right? So I know what is the end. So I know it starts from A, right? Ampersand X. And how do you want to define your the column? Column would be again be a lot of ampersand would be say, let's say column D, right? Ampersand X, something like this, dot select. Let's run this one. So F5. Oh, this is one. A1. A1 to D this. F5 selected.
Okay.
Right? Once you've got the selection, then again auto, you can put an auto filter, you put an auto filter on this. Auto filter, and then any one field you pick, it could be field 1, and the criteria is blank, you will be able to capture your empty rows. So you want to say blank or not blank? Let's say blank.
Blank.
Right? F5. So you've got your shift up. So you've got your blank rows. Then you can go ahead and delete the selection.
And how would I get to know which is the last blank cell?
Why do you need the last blank cell? You just need to work in this. The selection is already there. Now you only talk about the visible cells and delete it.
Okay. Okay.
Right? You can, that's why we need our take care guys. You don't have to stay back. Thank you. So
Ishani, I
Faizan,
just
Thank you,
once again,
Sunny.
once
Thank you,
again.
everyone.
Thank you. Sorry, I thought you all have left. Sorry. So Faizan, one more thing. Remember I said that, tomorrow we'll learn how to store the object as a variable. So once we have got this table, we can store it in a variable and then we can utilize it very easily. So then your your thing of, okay, how will I remove this empty cells also will be done. So one is that we are filtering, then we can use the same table and check for the visible cells, and invisible cells we can delete it.
Okay.
So let me do this thing. Let me save this code in our workbook that we are working in, and tomorrow when we do that objects, we can utilize it.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Got it, Ishani.
All right. Somebody else has a question?
Ishani, so tomorrow we have an assessment, right?
Tomorrow we have an assessment. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so this is before class or after?
Let's keep it after the class. Before the class, I think it needs a lot of my time.
All right.
After the
Okay.
class, not before the class.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ishani.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Ishani.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.